Good job. So if it says evaluate, you're going to replace variables with numbers. Okay, so take out an x, put in a 2, something like that. So we're going to jump right into a few problems where you're going to evaluate. I'm writing example 3 because it's a continuation of 1-2a, right? And now 1-2b. So if you looked in the book, this is like example 3 in your book. Okay, that's why it's not starting at example 1 today. So we're going to say evaluate for x equals 5 and y equals 2. Okay, and we're going to do 2 problems using those same numbers. So I'm going to give you 2 different setups here. So the first problem looks like this. You have x squared plus x minus 12 divided by y squared. And I'll give you a second to write that down before we actually start evaluating. Okay, so basically the only new step you have today is to take out the variables and put in the numbers, and then you're going to solve them just like we solved everything yesterday. Okay, so x is what? 5, and y is 2, right? So it said x is 5, y is 2. So wherever you see an x, you're going to take it out and put in a 5. Wherever you see a 2, you're going to take it out and put in a 2. So right here, I would get 5 squared plus what?
5.
Plus 5 minus 12 divided by what? 2 squared. Okay, so what we just did right there, that's really the only new thing today. It's take out the variable, put in the number. The rest of it is what we did yesterday. Now simplify it, solve it, okay? So if we do that, if we think PEMDAS, do we have P?
No.
No, there are no parentheses there. Do we have the E?
Yeah.
Yes. What do we have to do with that? 5 squared is 1 exponent, right? So 25 plus 5 minus 12 divided by what? 4, 2 squared. Okay, so let's simplify it one step further. What's your next step? Not adding yet. You divide, right? We want to do multiplication and division before we do addition and subtraction. So if we divide, it's going to be 25 plus 5 minus, what's 12 divided by 4? 3. Okay. Now all we have left is addition and subtraction. Do I do the addition first or the subtraction first? Addition. Why? Left to right. You're just going to go in the order you see it when it's addition and subtraction, okay? So 25 plus 5 is 30. Oh, that's not a 3. Try again. 30 minus 3. And what is 30 minus 3? 27. Okay. Now, I will tell you right now, if you want to get full credit on a quiz, for this stuff, because it's PEMDAS that we're learning, I need to see those steps, okay? Now, I'm not super picky. Like, once you get to this point, you can skip this one if you want and just give me 27. That's fine. But I do need to see the breakdown because I give you credit based on where you got it right. And if you made a mistake, I can take, like, one little point off. Psst, put your phone away. I can take one little point off, and you still got the answer totally wrong, but your other steps were right. So I can still give you all that credit and just take off that little bit for the one piece you got wrong. Okay, so it really benefits you to show me as much work as possible on these. Okay, I love partial credit. I will give you as much partial credit as I can. All right, next one. Same set of numbers, so I'm going to just rewrite them here so they're right in front of us. X is 5, Y is 2. And here's the problem. XY squared divided by XY. All right, so if we're going to plug those numbers in, what operation is happening between the X and Y? Multiplication, right? When they're just next to each other like that, you're multiplying. So we're going to do 5 times 2 squared divided by 5 times 2. Okay, what's the first thing we're going to do here? Parentheses first. So what's in our parentheses? 5 times 2 on both of them, right? So 5 times 2 here is 10, and we're squaring that. Oh, what just happened? Sorry. So 5 times 2 is 10 squared, divided by 5 times 2 is 10. What do I do next, Avery?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
At what point do you drop the parentheses, or like, does it matter?
If there's just one number inside, you can technically drop the parentheses. I sometimes leave the parentheses just because it shows like multiplication with whatever it's next to, but you don't have to. It's just the way I prefer to write it a lot of the time. But when there is just one number inside the parentheses, then you can drop it. Okay? Okay, so what's next? Right, so exponent is 10 squared or 100. So you have 100 divided by 10, which is 10. And that would be your answer. Okay, questions on that? Okay, I'm going to give you a new set of numbers. Can I move up from this? I'm still writing? Okay. Here's your set of numbers. If I tell you that C is 2 and D is 7, and I say evaluate for C equals 2 and D equals 7, if I have 4C minus 2D divided by C. Okay, 4C minus 2D divided by C. Gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this one time. If I have to keep referring to what's going on over there, I'm going to just change seats and you guys get to sit right in front of me. And I know you don't want to do that. So consider your hands and feet and how your bodies are interacting with each other and rethink it. You're just pushing on each other's desks. Great. Keep doing that. Okay, so if this is our setup, we're going to do 4. What operation is happening with 4 and C? Multiplication. So I would put parentheses here. You're welcome to put the dot if you like the dot better, or the X even. I just don't, sometimes that gets confused with an X variable. So then it's minus 2 times what? 7 divided by 2. Here's C. Okay, so now we're going to simplify. What is our first operation we're going to do? Are there parentheses?
Yes.
Okay, there are. Is there anything to do in the parentheses? No. So right now those parentheses are just saying we're multiplying. So there's not anything to do with the parentheses, so we're going to skip that and move on to exponents. Are there exponents? No. Okay. Is there multiplication and division?
Yes.
Which do I do first here?
Multiplication.
Which one? 4 times 2, right? So when it's multiplication division, we go left to right. So 4 times 2 is 8 minus, and now I'm fine if you want to just write this right now as 14, but for the sake of anyone who that confuses, I'm just going to write it out how it is. So it looks like that. What's the next multiplication I'm going to do? Or division? 2 times 7. So it's 8 minus 14 divided by 2. Okay. Jada. Then you do 14 divided by 2. So it's going to be 8 minus 7. And what do you get? 1. Okay. Questions on that one? Okay. How about this one then? Same set of numbers, and we're going to do D plus 6C divided by 4. Okay, so here's my set of numbers. Oops, C is 2, D is 7. So what do I replace my D with? 7 plus 6 times C is 2 divided by 4. Okay, what's the first thing we're going to do? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. We're going to multiply first here. So 7 plus 6 times 2 is 12 divided by 4. What's the next thing we're going to do? Divide. So it's going to be 7 plus, what does that become? 3. Okay, and then 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Don't forget those letterings. Questions on that? Okay, then the only other thing I want to do is 2 quick review problems from yesterday because you're going to see more of those today. And these ones get a little fancier than what we did yesterday. We're going to kind of step it up a notch. So let me write this one out. So you have multiple sets of parentheses here, right? You have parentheses and then you have the brackets, the square brackets. Those are really just another set of parentheses. Okay, so you want to do the innermost parentheses first and then work your way out. So if we are doing PEMDAS, what do we do for P?
2 times 9 and
Yep.
2 times 9
And 15 divided by 3. So if you want to do those both as one step, that's totally fine. So it would be 4. 2 times 9 is 18, so you can ditch those parentheses. Plus 15 divided by 3 is 5. You can ditch those parentheses and then square it. And then you can finish off your bracket. Okay, so now my brackets are parentheses, so we still need to do what's inside of there first. What's the first step inside of those parentheses? The exponent. So we're going to do 4, and if you want to turn them into regular parentheses now, if you like that better, that's totally fine. So 18 plus 25, and then what do you do from there? You add, right? Because it's in the parentheses, you want to add. We're taking care of the parentheses first, right? So that's the P, but it's adding. So it's 4 times, what is that? 43. So 18 plus 25, and now you can multiply. Anyone know 4 times 43 off the top of your head?
172.
Good work. Did you plug that into a calculator?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to be really impressed with your mental math. Questions on that? All right, last one, and then you'll have some time to try to get your homework done. 12 plus 3, and then a bracket, 18 minus 5, parentheses, 16 minus 13. And then finish off your parentheses and finish off your bracket. All right, think in PEMDAS. What is going to happen with P? So what's your first step with the parentheses? Right, so what numbers? 16 minus 13. So this would be number 1. So it's going to be 12 plus 3 times 18 minus 5 times 3. And again, if you don't like those parentheses there, you can always just ditch the parentheses. That's fine. And put the little dot in if you like that better. Do you guys like that better, the dot, than the parentheses? Okay, I'll try and do the dot instead. Okay, so here's my new setup. What do I do next? 5 times 3. You're going to multiply inside of the parentheses, okay? So 12 plus 3. I'm going to change our parentheses to just regular parentheses now. 18 minus 15. What's your next step? 18 minus 15. We're still doing parentheses, right? So 12 plus 3. 18 minus 15 is 3. So 12 plus 3 times 3. What do you do next?
3 times 3.
3 times 3. So 12 plus 9. And you get what? 21. Okay. Questions on that? Alrighty.